Hi everyone, posted by Callum here. Welcome back to the channel. I am delighted to be here with Arsenal fan Harrison in preparation for the game on Saturday. How are you doing today, Harrison?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. How have you felt with the start to your season so far? Because we're coming into it quite similar starts. I think same points, same goal difference. 5-0 defeat to Man City, a 6-0 win in the cup against a second string championship side. So overall it's looking very sort of even.
Yeah,
Arsenal will probably be favourites because of the quality of the squad. But how have you felt so far?
I felt embarrassed watching Arsenal since the start of the season. I won't lie. I won't hold any punches. Um, it has been embarrassing. Not even scoring a goal in the Prem. Like,
Yeah. No, yeah. So has there been any sort of signs of promise? Because I know, for example, Norwich, we didn't get any points against Leicester. We lost, but there was at least a little sign of improvement. Has there been? What's been the most promising performance out of the three, or has there even been?
you, you can't really like. There's been like aspects like Smith Rowe has been the shining light in all three performances, but
Yeah.
I mean he's ill reportedly, so he won't. At the moment, he's not available for the game. So
Wow. Didn't really.
yeah.
So that's quite a big miss for you. And is that maybe a bit of a problem, the fact that you're having to rely so much on some of the young guys? Because I still think I think Smith Rowe is a good talent, but there's probably a long way for him to go, and like how far he can go. Is the fact you're relying on him, Tierney, Saka, is that a bit of an issue? Would you say?
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head there. Like having to rely on the youngsters when you have so much experience in that squad, especially Aubameyang, Lacazette, who should be scoring, but they're just not firing.
And is it? I know. I don't know about Aubameyang. I know he's on a big contract. I think he signed it last summer, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lacazette. There was rumours throughout the summer that he was going to leave, but it looks like he's just going to stay and leave on a free transfer next season. I mean, what do you think of that? Have you warmed to Lacazette? Because I remember him signing big 50 million or whatever it was signing. Has he? Do you like him, or have you ever wanted to see more from him?
I've always wanted to see more. Like he's never come across as that sort of striker to get you to the next level,
Mm.
especially for joining the amount he did. Like he's not really been there. He hasn't really lived up to it, to be honest. But he seems like an all right guy. But obviously, being an all right guy doesn't win you games and doesn't get you back into top four. So
Mm.
it's difficult, really, because obviously, like you said, there were rumours that he would leave, and then there was rumours we were linked with Martinez. Didn't happen, so just stuck with him. But
Over a year, and is that maybe an issue? Do you think maybe he'll be like, well, I'm here for a year, work hard, he'll be really committed, or do you think it's going to be a bit of like half-hearted performances for the rest of the year? Because it is always a bit interesting, with how contract
yeah,
nowadays, so much player power.
yeah, no, it is weird because obviously there's the whole thing. Like what you'd think when Aubameyang signs that big contract, he'd be raring to go. Like he's
Yeah.
just committed his future to that. But Lacazette, like last season, he was on main goal threat above Aubameyang. So it's
Mhm.
like, will he continue that, or it's
Yeah,
difficult?
not sure. Yeah. So you've said about Aubameyang, said about Lacazette, new signings. It was a big transfer window. Arsenal were the biggest spenders, I believe. It
Mm.
was an interesting one. I think you've got a lot of players for the future, but your some expensive ones in that. So some really
Oh
expensive
yeah.
players for the future. So if you're hoping for like the whole resale thing, you're hoping to develop £100 million players out of Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, Lakonga, Odegaard as well signed, didn't he?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were you most excited by, or did you think like there was one that you maybe weren't so sure
The
about?
most excited I was probably Odegaard because I think it was around 30 million, which personally I think is a steal
Yeah.
because I think he is very. I think he's a bit underrated by rival fans, if I'm honest. But Lakonga has been brilliant since he's joined. He's been very, very good. I watched him in pre-season, watched him obviously since the season started, and he's been very, very good. So
Mm, brilliant. That's
yeah.
we'll see how they develop. And the price tag for Ben White was I think raised a lot of eyebrows. I know he got
Mm,
bullied by Tony in sort of one incident, didn't he, in the Brentford game? Do you think
mm.
of quite because of the way that football is, people will be writing off constantly looking to criticise. Do you think 50 million was a fair price for Ben White, or do you think there's potential overpayment?
I do think, like, you could argue that with any player, really. Like, I do think 50 million was very, very steep as like the initial price tag. But then I saw a bunch of reports, like Man United coming at us about the whole Varane thing, when in reality, apparently, according to reports, makes out that they'll be spending more money in total on Varane compared to what we're spending on Ben White. So he got a bit unlucky. He didn't have the greatest debut, and then he got COVID. So
yeah, so what to see.
Yeah, he's back and available. Same with Gabriel. So
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I do think Ben White's a player with great potential. Obviously, he had his loaner. It was like Newport first, wasn't it? Then Peterborough. Then he went to Leeds, did really well. Then he developed it more at Brighton. He looks like a really talented player on the ball, but I think people will have maybe question marks over the height. He's not the tallest centre back, is he? So it'll be interesting to see how he is from. I do think he's a great prospect, but you've made some good points there with the price tag. And we spoke about Smith Rowe and the fact that he might not be available. Walk through with me, like, how are Arsenal going to line up, do you think, on Saturday?
Well, that's the thing. It's really difficult for me to even guess at this point because Arteta, like, he's in a weird place with the fans. There's been a lot of reports that Ramsdale will actually start.
Wow.
After the whole 5-0 loss to Man City, which I'd rather not speak about again. Tomiyasu isn't able to play because he doesn't have a work permit. So it'll probably be Chambers, I reckon. Probably Holding and Mari. But the midfield is going to be the real question mark because El Neni, my love, he's actually injured, so he's unavailable. Partey's just come back, so is it risky to throw him straight in? Will it be a mix of obviously Xhaka's suspended? Will it be? I think it will be Lokonga, Maitland-Niles, and Odegaard as a midfield three.
Interesting. That's an interesting one. You said about El Neni, you'll love it. Explain, because that's an interesting one because I sort of see. I mean, I'd take El Neni at Norwich to be honest, good player, but I see him kind of as an Arsenal squad player. Do you think he's maybe one of the unsung heroes of Arsenal?
I mean, obviously, I play up to it now. Like throughout Twitter and throughout my friend group, it's become sort of a joke how much I like El Neni. Like you said, he's a good squad player. He's the person you can put on in like a Carabao Cup game, FA Cup game, or to just see off the end of the game. But he's not, like I've said before, like he's not a sort of player to take you to that next level, which I think we need. Like,
and one player you didn't mention. I know there's I've been trying to read up as well. Gabriel back in training. I know that might be massive for you. I don't know if he's going to start. Thomas Partey, I remember last season when you bought him, I thought, wow, what beast, fantastic player at Atletico. It never looked like he quite got into the rhythm at Arsenal last season. Are you hoping?
Yeah, he had the occasional game, really.
Yeah, are you looking for, a different Thomas Partey this year?
I'm just looking for a more consistent Partey, to be honest. Because there were games where he played really well. Like the one game that sticks to when we beat Man United last season, he played brilliantly. I think it was one of his first games as well. He played excellent, but he hasn't hit the consistency that I think he would want to either.
I've been because obviously this is Arsenal versus Norwich, and I've been trying to think how can Norwich hurt Arsenal. I'd personally put in our striker Adamida for this game, which is a bit of a controversial one, but the reason I'm saying it is because Adamida's got some height on him, and when I City highlights back, Chambers and Holding looked really poor at jumping from the ball. Crosses, they look awful. If we can utilise Ida's height, he hasn't got a Premier League goal yet. Still one of our young strikers. I mean, do you think that is a way that Norwich can hurt you?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah. And I think if we do start with the back line of like the two centre backs being Holding and Mari, we play quite a high line. So I think being able to utilise that, because Mari, he really struggles in a high line. So if you're able to hold on to Mari and get in behind, I think that's one way you can really cause us trouble on the transition between. So.
And like, where do you stand on Mikel Arteta? Like, if I put a sort of a way, how do I say this? If Norwich were to win, as we don't know, would it be right? That's it. Are you someone who trusts him and says maybe give him more time? What's your thoughts on him?
Throughout last season, I was really on the I hate saying it, like trust the process. Like he says all the right things in interviews. I don't know if you've seen his interviews. Like he says a lot of good things, but saying the good things but not doing them on the pitch are two completely different things. Like, it's been a horrendous start to the season. Yes, we had the champions of Europe and the Premier League champions, so kind of understandable losing them 2 games.
Mm.
Personally, I'm giving him until the Tottenham game before I make a proper decision. If we lose and we get embarrassed, then I think I might make my mind up quicker. But it's we're in such a because our board won't sack him. It doesn't seem like they're going to sack him. So
Interesting choice. Because I know he was
Mm.
linked before you got Emery, and it looked like I got Arteta. And then obviously when Emery went, it was like, right, we're going to make the move for him now. It seems like they're waiting. They think there's like a top class coach in there. We'll see if that happens. But it just seems like at the moment there's a lot of like transition at Arsenal. It's almost there's a bit of a struggle. Do you think it's maybe the struggle of recruiting the world class talent because you've not got Europe this year, have you? So
Yeah, exactly. And we didn't have like a wow signing this season, really. Like, it's all been 24 and under. There's not been like last season. We obviously had Partey, who was that wow, and before we've had the likes of Özil and Aubameyang and players like that. But you can't use like a lot of Arsenal fans previous to this transfer window were saying he needs to be backed in the transfer window. He's been backed. I think it's 120 odd million, wasn't it? So if you can't get the most out of this group of players, his group of players, then I think like he's got to go. There is a good manager in there. Like, I've seen it in the FA Cup and aspects like when we beat Liverpool couple seasons ago with the height of lockdown and everything. Like, we played nice football. We had played good. Like, essentially, it was it was like watching Wenger ball again. Like, in some aspects, like the whole Jack Wilshere goal. I think you'll remember that.
Yeah, I do. Great goal, to be honest. Made out like mugs.
But again, it's the same thing I said with Partey. There's not been any sort of consistency with Arteta, and that's the big thing Arsenal are missing is consistency. But what I was going to ask you, what players should Arsenal be looking out for? Like, how should we, like, is there certain players who are currently on form for you who we should be wary about? Or
we've kind of had a similar start to you, really. It's been a bit like not really many. Maybe it's a team of Boogie's scored a penalty. That's it. So in terms of goals, I mean, the one I will say is Cholis, the Greek winger. He played in the Bournemouth Carabao Cup game. 2 goals, 2 assists on his debut. He looks like the bright spark. I think he got an assist again for Greece the other day. So he's only 19 years old. So he looks like a really good prospect. And potentially, if all add-ons come on, it's a club record signing. So yeah, I think that could be a really impressive one if it all goes our way. But yeah, we haven't really seen a lot yet because our start's been so difficult. Man City, I mean, there's Jack Grealish, 100 million. That's more than our entire squad on one player. So like, it's just we're just punching above our weight quite a lot there. Liverpool, again, we were pretty, even though there were some bits of promise against Liverpool, it was a pretty comfortable win. Leicester could have been a different game if a couple of things went our way. I think I know it was a loss, but I do. Another day that could have been a draw or even a win. We just missing it. We just didn't go our way that game. But I don't think there's a better time to play Arsenal and beat them at the Emirates.
Yeah.
The start of the season. So I am hoping, even though they're a massive club, Arsenal was like it is a bit David and Goliath. It's going to be a difficult one. But yeah, prediction. What are you saying?
Like you said it perfectly. There's not a better time. Like, every team must want to play Arsenal right now. Like, we're down, our confidence is shot. Like, who wouldn't want to play us right now? But I can just see us pulling out of the bag. Like, I can see us accepting the first 3 games out of our control, and this is essentially the start of our season. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to be biased here, maybe a 3-1 win.
No, that's fair enough. 3-1 win. I'm going to have a, what do I say? Biased predictor. Do I go biased as well? I feel like I should because, otherwise what's the point? Again, probably more biased than you because you've actually got maybe the squad to back it up. I'm going to say a cheeky nick of like a 1-0 because I feel like, we get that first goal, and sit back. We signed an defensive
Yeah.
midfielder called Matthias Norman as well. So if we can, add that bit of midfield strength and, because I don't know if we score first, something tells me that might be the key thing. But I might, who knows?
I actually do think if you manage to score first, we do struggle to break teams down. We do.
Yeah.
We're too slow on the attack. So I think if you do manage to get that early goal, and then you just sit back 11 men behind the ball, I think you could easily nick that 1-0.
And that's what we need to do because last time in the Premier League, we played some nice football. It was fine, really. It was especially before Project Restart. That is, it was like, we should have. I remember the game at Carrow Road against Arsenal, for example. I think we should have got 3 points that game. I actually do. Like, we played. It was when Aubameyang scored. Did like a FA Cup front flip celebration after equalising off the penalty that was originally saved. But that was a good performance. But the problem was when we played a lot of teams, we couldn't see out games. But I'm hoping now there's been quite a lot of a bit of squad change. Like Buendia was sold to Villa. You guys are interested as well in him, and there's been a lot of like Teti, Vrancic, Tribal, Steveman, old sort of servants who have served well, Championship players. They're now no longer here. We've sort of brought in the likes of Kabak and Gilmore. Players hopefully elevate us, take us to the next level.
Has the Buendia leaving affected you quite a lot?
Difficult to say because I'm not sure if Buendia was in the team for the first 3 games. He's if Buendia was in the team, I don't know if it would have been much different. What I would say is kind of we signed loads of players, so it's difficult to kind of go for everyone. But Rashica, he was kind of the Buendia replacement. We signed him.
Okay.
He looks like he can be a bit of a handful. I don't think he's Emi Buendia level. And Buendia was ridiculously good. I mean, having him in the Championship last season was just unreal. He just looked so far above the Championship. It was almost a cheat code. It would have been completely different, really, if we didn't have him. Because the amount of Pookie should have really scored about 45 goals. The amount of passes he was getting. I think it has affected us, but at the same time, the positives it's maybe brought is it's allowed us to have our biggest ever spending ever, and maybe allowed us to strengthen in areas that we wouldn't have strengthened otherwise. Like the Kabak signing, that's probably financially a pretty big one. I know it's a loan, but there's the option to buy as well. The loan fee is something close to 5 million. I can't remember, but and then there's the option to buy them as well. So decent money spent. But how I would have much rather had him. It's not very often go up so that you see teams promoted and then sell their best players straight away. That's kind of a rare thing. That kind of shows the model that Norwich have. If there's anyone more than semi-decent, we've seen it with James Maddison, Jamal Lewis, Ben Godfrey, and now Emi Buendia in the last Pritchard before that as well. Anyone who's semi-decent and more than semi-decent performing usually gets sold. But it's time for new heroes to step up, and hopefully
exactly.
New signings can do that. But great. Anything else that you kind of want to add in preparation?
Trying to think now. Where do you actually think you're going to finish this season? I was curious.
Again, it's biased because I would have said it last time when we comfortably finished bottom. But I do think we've got a chance of staying up. I do. I think people have written us off quite early after playing some really difficult opponents. What I'm waiting for is how are we going to do against Burnley? How are we going to do against Southampton? How are we going to do against Palace, Newcastle, Brentford, Watford? Those teams. Because last time we weren't getting in the Prem, we weren't getting points against the teams we should have been getting points against. We actually often played better quite a lot against the big six, and I think that was because we played our football almost matched a little bit. Whereas we just beaten Man City, for example, 3-2, confidence high. All the Norwich fans thought, wow, this is brilliant. Burnley, we try and almost repeat it. Burnley just come in, his headers, tough tackling. It was a routine 2-0 win. Those are the things we're going to struggle with. But in terms of a position, I'm just going to say 17th, simply because I'm just going to be a bit biased. But I do think there's a much better chance of us with this season.
I can see you staying up. To be fair, I can't see it.
And as for where do you think Arsenal will finish?
So I did have a little prediction of the league table with my friend, and I did actually put Arsenal 5th. I'll be honest. I was very, very at the start of the season. It's a bit like risky,
I'd say it is, yeah, but you never know.
because before the season starts, you think no European football. You're gonna get like the reports have come out saying Arteta's going to be backed, and the links with Odegaard, even Maddison, and a lot of players. You think we only really have to focus on the league this season. Surely, like top 6 should be a minimum requirement this season. But the start of the season, I can see us finishing like an 8th again. To be honest.
8th, yeah. I think that's maybe, I would have said 5th looks ambitious. Because you look at the teams around you, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not around you now, but in terms of like club size, I mean, obviously, who else? Leicester have shot up in the last few years, Spurs, and there might be, who knows, like a few years ago, Wolves as well. Later, I don't think it'll necessarily be them this year, but there might be a team that make a real run nearby. So Arsenal they've got a big job, that's for sure. And you said about Maddison. I mean, obviously, I'm a bit biased because I thought he was a fantastic player at Carrow Road, but I think even though maybe if you look at the whole value for money thing, Odegaard was a good signing. He's a class player. I do think though someone like Maddison just has, his set piece ability, unreal quality.
I really like Maddison. Really rate Maddison.
I mean, Farke's first season, we were actually really struggled in the Championship. Maddison single-handedly kept us in the Championship, you could say. But then obviously when we sold him, we replaced him with Buendia. So we didn't end up missing him as much as we thought. And then so this is now the thing: can we replace Buendia and with receipts, for example, Cholis, whoever? Because we know we've added a bit more attacking talent. And Sargent, another striker from Werder Bremen, we signed. Sargent, probably him and Ida, sort of a question: who's going to be the long-term Timu Pukier? Will it be Josh Sargent, new signing? Will it be Adam Ida, who's from our academy? We're not really too sure yet, but it's interesting that you said, I think at 8th, I mean, it would be a disappointing one, I think, for us. You really need the European football, don't you? I mean, I've been to the Emirates once before. It's a massive stadium, different league to Carrow Road, for example, in terms of size and everything. The tickets are ridiculously expensive.
Oh yeah, honestly,
if you want
embarrassing how expensive they are.
Tickets you pay, you kind of expect world class talent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you think of the past as well. Like Wenger got us in top 4 consistently for how many years? And now we can't even get Europa.
And I'm interested to know from we've really cool. We've gone quite a bit, but some good conversations here. Was Wenger hounded out unfairly at Arsenal? Because I remember there were so many good AFT memes, tweets, and all that. It was all a bit funny to look at because I was like, oh, they really want. But I always thought, are they overreacting a little bit? Was he hounded out a bit unfairly?
So for me, like I'm 20, so obviously the earliest memory I have is obviously I was old enough to have watched the Invincibles, maybe not so much remember it.
I was going to say you were young, yeah.
But I know I've been shown it. But like I talked to my my stepdad, who's diehard Arsenal fan, diehard. Like there's even a picture of him being escorted out of Highbury. Like it is mental. So I've asked him this same question, and he says no, it wasn't unfairly because he'd been there for so many years. And we weren't challenging for titles, really. We were just plodding in that 4th place spot. And we started getting memed for it, like happy about a 4th place spot. That's all you ever finish. And now people are so happy to finish 4th. But I'd take a Wenger back to get us into 4th over 3 8th place seasons in a row. Like, personally, I think he was unfairly treated. But maybe that's just because I'm not old enough to remember how, like, the heights of Arsenal.
It's just, some of the banners and the yelling and the swearing, booing and all that. I remember that's how it kind of ended. Some of the fans, loads of fans that loved him, and because it just seemed very. Would you say he's probably the most successful Arsenal manager ever?
Yeah,
I could say so. It's very weird to see sort of a club legend treated like that. But I suppose, as you said, some good points there. If you felt like you weren't challenging, and he just overstayed his welcome, because that was a long time to stay at one club. Absolutely a long time to stay at one club. But do you think there's maybe an element of the whole Alex Ferguson thing with Arsenal, that that was such a key figure, someone new, is always going to be a bit difficult?
Yeah, I think it is difficult when such a successful manager stays for so long. Like, you think of United, for example, like they haven't won a trophy in it, what is it, 4 or 5 years or so?
Might be wrong. Was the last one the Europa League in
Yeah.
2008? Was that 2018, 2017? 2017.
I know it's been quite a few years, but it's like when it comes to league titles, they've finished second, but they haven't competed. They haven't been in like a race.
Yeah.
And I do think that is the case. Like, you think of Chelsea, like since Abramovich just came, they've constantly went through managers to constantly be competing at the highest level, which I think Arsenal we don't do.
Every club's got a different model, and it would be like if Thomas Tuchel didn't get top four this year, he'd probably be gone. And some people would be like, "Oh, that's he's such." I think he's a likable guy, but you've got to look at it and think that's the Chelsea model. Maybe for them, that's what works. And you can't really, apart from Chelsea are a consistent team. Apart from, I remember back when Jose had a really poor, so I think it was the 15-16 season, and Hazard wasn't scoring. They were at like 15th at one point, and they didn't get the European football. But then they kept it. They bounced straight back the next season, didn't they? They were fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. I mean, Arsenal for a long time last season were like, well, I think at the beginning near Christmas they were like 15th, weren't they? Something like
that. The mental stat is, sorry to just keep on waffling, but
that's
the mental stat after Christmas last season, when it comes into points, like points given, we were, I think, second or third in points given post Christmas, which is mental. If we didn't like lose the silly games against Burnley and Aston Villa, like last season would have been completely different, because the points last season were very, very close. Like,
that's what it was. Fine. Something clearly wasn't clicking, but it clicked a little more, and then that maybe got people. Maybe for some people, I don't know if I'm wording it like this because I'm not an Arsenal fan, but maybe that papered over cracks for some people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what the FA Cup won done. It just papered over those cracks. Like, we weren't we finished 8th that season as well, but because we won the FA Cup, we got Europa League again, and then we obviously got knocked out by Unai Emery, which was heartbreaking. But
he got memed a lot at Arsenal, but you've got to say, other than Arsenal, he's been pretty successful. He was very good at Sevilla, so he's a decent manager. So what you were 8th in Mikel Arteta's first season, were you?
I think it was 7th or 8th. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you won the FA Cup, but I remember there was poor Arsenal. So that FA Cup win maybe papered over some cracks. Then last season, when you, as you just said, that stat where you were third for points after Christmas, maybe that papered some as well, because there was
when Smith Rowe came in, we started playing very well. Like, I genuinely think Smith Rowe is a player to watch out for. Really do. Like,
well, yeah, he looks a really good talent. He was winning at Huddersfield a few years ago as well, didn't he? And good talent. Well, it's just the thing is, for England, there's so many people in his position, aren't there? That's a competitive position, and you just as a few more numbers, a bit more of him actually doing something. That's like that's something. But I agree with you. On the ball, he looks like a really decent option to have, and amazing. He's very young as well, so a lot of years. I think we've waffled for quite a bit now, Harrison, and I think we'll stop there. But obviously, do you want to say where people can find you?
Well, I have a YouTube channel just called Harrison Campion. I also on TikTok at harrison.campion with 2 extra N's on the end. So if you want to follow me there, go ahead. But thank you. I want to say thank you for inviting me on.
Brilliant. It's been great having you on. Yeah, obviously we're posted by Callum. We'll have Harrison's sort of details and links and all that in the description below. So as he said, check him out there. And I would say good luck, but bad luck.
No, that's fair. To be fair,
we both need the points.
May the best team win.
Exactly, that's a better way of putting it than mine. Much more classy. But both teams going to need the win, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.